I always thought my most valuable moment was when I led my team to hit our targets and deliver key results. But I was wrong. It turns out, the moment I created the most value for the shareholder was the day they let me go. Think about it. Over 500,000 tech workers were laid off in the last 2 years. The common narrative was that the economy is tough. Cash flow is tight. We need to survive. That's what I believe too. When I received my severance package, I actually worried about the company's burn rate. I thought, paying out this much compensation must be a heavy hit. But reality was quite different. The business didn't tank. The stock didn't crash. Instead, it kept climbing to new highs. I had one question I couldn't figure out. If the company is healthy and printing money, why cut so many people? Then I went through the financial reports, and I realized I was calculating it wrong. I used to look at it simply. I bring in value, you pay me a salary. If I perform well, I deserve to stay. I help the company make money so the company keeps me. But capital, it doesn't calculate like that. Capital focuses on one specific formula. Valuation equals profit times the PE ratio. In big tech, a PE ratio of 25 is pretty standard. This formula isn't complex. But when you apply it to an individual employee, the result is brutal. Let's look at the real math. Say a mid-level employee at a major tech firm makes a base of $300,000. When you add insurance, stock grants, and benefits, the total cost to the company is about $400,000 a year. In the financial statements, that $400K has only one name: cost. When that cost is cut, on the books, it immediately converts into profit margin. And when profit increases, the market amplifies it by the PE ratio. So 400,000 times 25 is $10 million. You realize a counterintuitive fact. For every mid-level role the company eliminates, the market cap theoretically has room to grow by $10 million. Now, look back at the severance package. Compared to the $10 million in market value created by cutting the role, that expense is a rounding error. Think about it. To earn $10 million, it would take a normal person several lifetimes, even if I worked myself to death. I could never compete with that kind of math. But by leaving, the value appeared instantly. That is accounting. This explains why layoffs happen, even when companies are profitable. Many people ask, if the earnings are good, why lay us off? Because today, layoffs have decoupled from survival. It is about efficiency. As long as labor costs are squeezed, margins improve. If margins improve, the stock price has a reason to break new records. So you see, the companies cutting the most headcount are often the ones performing best on the stock market. And the critical part is, once this math is proven to work, it won't stop at big tech. Because this isn't an industry strategy. This is a financial strategy. So, why are the middle class and middle management the first to go? Why is experience suddenly depreciating? 20 years ago, the logic was different. Companies paid for experience because it meant stability and risk reduction. But experience is not a universal currency. It only has value under one condition. The rules remain the same. Once the rules change, experience doesn't depreciate slowly. It resets. Think of it like a video game. You spent 15 years grinding in the old version. You were a top-tier player. Suddenly, the developers release a patch. New map, new mechanics. Your proficiency in the old version, it doesn't transfer. This is the dilemma for the middle class. It's not that you aren't working hard, it's that the system is no longer buying your skill set at the old premium. I personally witnessed a very typical middle-class consumption model. A tech giant approached me through a headhunter a few years ago. They offered a package significantly higher than my previous role. Later, I found out almost no one in that specific team lasted over a year. Their playbook was simple: pay a premium to acquire talent and kickstart growth. But the moment growth slows down, keep a skeleton crew for maintenance, and cut the rest. You thought they were buying people. Actually, they were buying a growth curve. When the curve flattens, the headcount is adjusted. And looking at 2026, this distinction will get sharper, especially the difference between humans and tools on the books. Companies are realizing that work that used to require a human can now be leveraged by tools. On the books, a human is an expense. A tool is an asset. You hire a human? That hits the bottom line immediately. You buy compute clusters? That counts as capital expenditure. It is amortized over years. That is why you see this trend. Reducing headcount on one side, while pouring billions into infrastructure on the other. It's not just about loving technology, it's about the balance sheet looking better. It serves as a reminder. In this current ledger, you are likely not calculated as a long-term asset. When you leave, it doesn't depend on your effort. It depends on when the model decides that this cost can be optimized. The old logic was, as long as you are hardworking, senior, and stable, time is on your side. But in 2026, time itself is no longer your ally. Understanding this isn't about panic. It's about stopping to use old rules, to bet on a world that has already changed.